Let's talk about Barry Minkow.
Okay.
Now, Barry got started in business at age 16. He actually started a carpet cleaning business out of his parents' basement, and
Industrious fellow.
he called it Z Best.
Z Best.
Z Best, and it was 4 capital Z's. Z Best.
Okay, so industrious, if not particularly imaginative.
Well, he got pretty imaginative later on, as you'll see.
Okay.
At any rate, he's a 16-year-old. He has a lot of difficulties with his business because he can't even really get a checking account because in the state of California, where he lived, you can't sign legally binding documents until you're 18.
Would his parents not do it for him?
Well, this was all his business, So, I mean, he was running the payroll and everything. I really don't know how involved his parents were, but he was having issues with it. His business was struggling as well. I imagine, as a 16-year-old, you have trouble figuring out, how much money should go into this for a budget, go into that, how you pay your employees.
I can't imagine trying to juggle that at 16.
No, and this guy had employees. It's not just, this is not just him going cleaning carpet, right?
Right.
So he actually started stealing jewelry from his grandmother and selling it in order to pay some of his expenses.
Stand-up guy.
Yeah, and
I think that gives us some insight into where this is heading in the future.
Yeah.
Like if you will steal from your own grandmother,
right?
He ain't worried about stealing from you.
There were some interviews I watched. One with his sister, or his cousin. I really don't recall, but she said that their grandmother complained about that till her dying day that he had stolen that jewelry from her. He also started kiting checks.
I'm not sure what that is.
I wasn't really sure what that was either. I had to look into it. Now, apparently he was able to get some checking accounts. I guess his parents helped him co-sign with it or whatever. Mm-hmm. But basically what kiting checks is you write a check from one checking account to pay something, right? So you've got a bill, you pay it with this check, but you don't have enough money in that checking account to cover the bill, right? What you do is write a check from another checking account that also doesn't have enough money in it to deposit in this first checking account to cover that check. So you get a lot of time because they deposit that money and then they have to clear it with the other bank and stuff like that.
So it buys you time to come up with the money?
Buys you time to come up with the money. And if you don't, you've pretty much got that first thing paid. You've overdrawn your checking account.
Wow.
So he was doing a lot of check kiting as well.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. And
we didn't just give anyone any ideas.
No,
I'm assuming this is illegal.
Yeah, it is. Though honestly, I'm not sure if you can still pull it off these days because of the way transactions go through.
Probably instantly.
Yeah, a lot of banks can do instant transactions now, so I don't know if it even worked anymore. That's a fair point. This was the 80s, so things were a bit different. Some other things he was doing to start making ends meet here, pay the bills. He actually started making some fraudulent money orders. He staged fake break-ins.
Like when you say that do you mean he was like counterfeiting them?
So actually, this is something I watched in one of the documentaries. Mm-hmm. Apparently, a guy at the store, or I'm not sure where it was, who's buying the money orders, could have been the post office, mm-hmm. actually left him alone with the machine that they made money orders with. Back then, it wasn't a computer; it was it looked kind of like a little typewriter that puts indentions in the paper with dies. Mm-hmm. He left him alone with it, and Barry just made up several money orders to pay bills.
I mean, that's as good as cash.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm not even sure how, who has to pay that out. You'd think it would come out of the store's accounts or something. I don't know. But
I'm sure they have to account for every one.
Yeah, it has to come from somewhere. But yeah, he made some fraudulent money orders that way to pay some of his bills. He was paying employees with those.
But don't those have very specific tracking numbers on them? Can't you easily figure out which ones were fraudulent?
I would say so. But I mean, you could at least figure out which store they came from.
Surely.
But it doesn't mean that the store knows which ones were fraudulent and how much money they got for which money orders, right? Mm. Or the post office, wherever it actually was he was getting them. He also, outside of those, he was staging fake break-ins to commit insurance fraud.
Wait, pretending to break into his own home?
Business. Well, yeah, though I don't know exactly what was getting stolen, but reporting something stolen, getting
You
insurance
said
payouts.
break-ins. He did this multiple times?
Over the course of his business, yes, he did. I don't know when he was 16 how many he did.
Seems like there's only a set number of times you could get away with that.
Perhaps.
Hey, I'm not the con artist here. So.
He was also committing credit card fraud by overcharging some of his customers.
Lovely.
Yeah. And
was it just a few dollars here and there, or did he go big?
Oh, he went big. One lady in particular was charged $600 extra.
Oh my God.
611, I think she said. And
I mean, that's something you'd notice. Why would he take money that they would notice?
Well, I think a lot of people just didn't pay attention to what their carpet cleaning bill was. People just put it on the credit card and then go on about their business. And then they say, oh, that was a big bill, but they don't do anything about it. I mean, they can report it to the credit card company and try to get the money back, but he's getting some cash flow in the meantime,
right.
To, pay his expenses. Now,
so he was using just about every dirty trick in the book to stay afloat.
Yeah, he was. And the credit card fraud may have actually started a bit later than the others. I just know he was committing that.
Okay.
Now, eventually, Barry gets into business with a man named Tom Paget. And Tom is an insurance adjuster.
Is he also a con man of some sort?
Well, he gets into being a con man at this point. What Barry and Tom do is they create fake insurance claims for fake buildings. And Barry's carpet cleaning service, Z-Best, branches out into doing insurance restorations. Like, if a building was flooded or damaged by a storm or whatever,
right.
Going in, doing the restoration work on it.
Okay.
But it was all fake. And basically they were using
How do you get away with inventing buildings?
According to Barry, they just weren't checking to see if these places were real.
I mean, I guess it's easy just to assume that the building they claim exists does.
Right. And what they were doing is they were using the reports of profits from these restorations,
mm-hmm.
these fake restorations they were doing, to show banks and investors how much profit they were making.
Right.
So basically starting up a big Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, it's just completely fraudulent.
Completely fraudulent. You've got a lot of people
to attract investors.
Yeah, throwing money at them to invest. Banks just giving them, loans because they think they're good for it. They're making so much money.
Right.
And they've got a lot of cash flow at that point.
Okay.
Now, they actually even create
this seems like a really leaky ship. I mean, like it's just barely staying afloat.
It does seem that way. It's amazing to me they lasted as long as they did. But Barry and Tom actually even created a fake business just to verify to the banks and investors that they were doing this work.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really insane. It was called Interstate Appraisals.
Uh-huh.
And it didn't even really exist. They were just forging paperwork to say, yeah, this is getting done. This is, the profit margins on it. This is, everything like that. They did, the appraisals for what was required of the.
I mean, again, this seems like
restoration,
a game of Jenga that's just about to come crashing down at any moment.
And it goes a bit longer.
How long is he able to keep this up?
You just wait. Sir.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Just wait. Now, he uses that money from the Ponzi scheme with the investors to expand his business. He expands all across Southern California.
Okay.
At the time, he's got carpet cleaning businesses everywhere. And strange enough, the carpet cleaning business is doing legitimate work. It's on the up and up, other than the fact that it's being funded by
he has actual employees who are doing actual work?
Yeah, they're doing actual, and by all reports, they did a really good job of cleaning carpets.
So they're just not doing those specific building restorations?
Right, they're not doing that at all. Now, obviously, there was some credit card fraud against
I guess that helps sell the scheme too, right? If you actually got legitimate employees.
Yeah, you've got legitimate employees and people can see the work you've done, but however, they don't see the work you've done on the restorations.
Right, because it was never done.
Right, but they know your businesses exist. They have all this proof of everything else. They're really not looking for fraud in this particular case, right? Because most instances of a Ponzi scheme like that, the business never existed, or the investment doesn't exist in the first place.
Right.
With this one, you had a legitimate business running, and it was just one arm of the business that was fraudulent.
Okay.
So that was something that I guess they just didn't look for at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they were wanting to make that money from the investment. So.
Yeah. I mean, when you have every incentive not to detect fraud, you probably won't.
Exactly, right. So at this point, Barry's wanting to go back legitimate, right? He wants to get out of this Ponzi scheme with the investments, but he can't afford to. He can't afford to get out of all the investments and loans.
So he's wanting to go completely legit.
He is. He's wanting to get out of it because he knows that's a leaky ship.
Right.
And they come up with a plan to come up with the money.
I'm sure this should be good.
This is going to blow your mind that they had the balls to do this. 1986 is 1 year after he graduates high school, right?
Okay.
He decides to take the company public.
Wait, 1 year after he graduated high school?
Yeah. And
he's taking this company with all of these holes and quick schemes to stay afloat public.
Yep. And they have to go through all kinds of, red tape and jumping through hoops just to get this done. There are, investigators, I guess you call them, that come out to just, verify your business and everything like that.
Make sure the buildings you're cleaning actually exist.
Well, they didn't check buildings to make sure they existed. But one thing they had to do is they had to rent several floors of office space to create a place for interstate appraisal services.
So the illusion of an office?
So the illusion of an office, just so these people could go to interstate appraisal.
Well, did they hire fake employees to like a fake receptionist?
I honestly don't know about that.
How do you pull that off?
He may have used some of his other...
Man, that sounds like something out of a television show.
Right. Well, he may have used some of his other employees from... It really does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I don't know how to describe it. It seems more like from a cartoon almost, right? I just pull the wool over somebody's eyes. He may have used some of his employees from Z-Best to go in there and work for a few days. They may have not had any idea
it seems like anyone that he brought in would have to be in on the plot, right?
Maybe. I don't know how that worked, but I do know
he couldn't risk someone saying, "Yeah, we just set up here yesterday."
Right, exactly. But I do know they rented fake office space for it. Really,
I mean, that's commitment. I'll give him that.
But yeah, his plan is to make enough money from the IPO to get out from under the Ponzi scheme.
Right.
But he doesn't really, and he's an instant millionaire as soon as it goes public. The stock does really well. But
he still doesn't have enough to fix all the issues?
No, he didn't have the cash to buy out of it, apparently.
Yeah, because the stock increase wouldn't be tangible cash he could spend. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Now they did sell a lot of stock, but apparently it just wasn't.
It just doesn't have anything liquid.
Yeah. Well, no. I mean, there was enough sales of stock in the IPO that there was liquid, funding coming in, but apparently it just wasn't enough for him to get out from under all these, investors and loans. But they actually the IPO went off without a hitch.
Really?
Somehow. Yeah. I don't know how the hell that worked.
No questions asked, no red flags raised.
I mean, they investigated them, but they wanted this IPO to go through because it looked like it was going to make a bunch of money.
Right.
This actually became like the 5th or 6th most popular stock on NASDAQ after a while.
Okay.
By 1987, the company's worth $280 million.
Jesus.
Well, and I think part of the problem with that is once your company's worth more, the investments are worth more too, right?
Right.
So it's harder to get from under it. So he's looking for another plan to get out of the Ponzi scheme.
Okay. So to do that, he needs to pay off everyone that's invested thus far, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He needs to pay them off.
Okay.
And it's going to be a lot of money.
Do you have any idea what the value of that is?
I have no idea. I never got the exact numbers on what.
But we're talking probably millions of dollars.
Definitely millions at this point, right? Because the company's worth $280 million at this point.
Right.
But there is another company called KeyServe that's also a carpet cleaning company. Mm-hmm. And they have a contract with Sears to clean the carpet in all the Sears stores. So,
like the department stores, Sears. Okay, yeah, I'm just making sure.
And that's a big contract. There's a lot of
especially
money,
then,
a lot of cash flow. So they work out a merger with KeyServe. Okay. And they're trying to put everything together for this merger to go through.
Okay.
And while that's about to go through, it's in the news and everything, right? It's big news. This local company's gotten so big.
Right.
Do you remember that $611 credit card fraud I was telling you about?
Oh, dear Lord.
Well, that woman held a grudge.
Did she now?
She did.
Can't say that I blame her.
And she never got her money back on it. You know, a lot of people got their money back from that credit card fraud, but she never did. And she was still angry about it. So she went to the media with the credit card fraud. Right while this deal was.
Did this start some sort of avalanche of investigations?
It started a huge avalanche, and everything, just fell apart.
Of all the millions of dollars of fraud he had committed, it was a $600 overcharge to a credit card that got busted. There's some poetic justice.
Yeah, it really is, isn't there? And I know, like, that woman was thrilled.
Oh, it had to have been.
Like, that is.
I hope she got her money back. Did she?
I'm not sure. I'm assuming she did at that point because there were lawsuits and everything then. But basically, the credit card fraud is discovered. Stock prices just plummet because this is all over the news, right? Yep. When the stock prices plummet, the banks call the loans.
Oh.
And he can't cover them. And everything just crumbled, It was estimated in the end that 90% of this company's profits were fake.
90%?
Yeah, it's from that fake insurance fraud.
Again, I mean, I don't know a lot about the stock market and how this works. it is beyond me how with 90% fake profits, you could be that successful.
Well, it's all on paper, like really what investors want to see is that you're making these profits. They don't really want to see your cash flows all the time. They're just looking at your statements where you've done all these restorations and gotten all this money from it. And a lot of times they never look at your cash flows to try to corroborate that. They just see your earnings reports and they go with that. Now,
did he see jail time over this?
Yeah, he really did. He was convicted of racketeering, embezzlement, mail fraud, money laundering, securities fraud, and tax evasion.
Oh, you mean during this entire time he wasn't properly paying his taxes either?
Apparently not.
That's surprising.
So he was sentenced to 25 years, but he only actually served 11 of it. He was released early. Something to note is that while he was in prison, he became a born-again Christian.
Oh.
The Jewish businessman became a born-again Christian. And
he put his past of fraud behind him?
Yeah. He found religion and put that behind him. He actually did courses through Liberty University so that he could become a pastor.
Wow, seems like he's really turned his life around there, Dan.
Yeah, he's doing so well. Now, he got out of jail in 1995.
Okay.
And started working as a pastor. He wrote a book called Clean Sweep that was about his scam.
Mm-hmm.
And now all the profits to that really were going to, pay back his debts from the fraud, the scam. Right. Yeah. But he does eventually start the Fraud Discovery Institute. It's like a former fraudster knows how to detect those things. So he goes into business, finding fraud in different places.
I guess you use the skills you have, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. So
was he investigating fraud, or was he just teaching courses on how it?
He was investigating. He was actually investigating it. People would come to him with reports of fraud or what they thought might be fraud. He'd investigate it, get to the bottom of it.
Okay.
Because he knew what it looked like. Right.
Well, it's good to see a story end with a clean slate.
Well, that's not the end.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So let's fast forward up to 2009.
Well, now I don't like where this is going, Dan.
Actually, I think you might really like it when we get to the end of this.
Okay.
2009, a man named Nicholas Marsh comes to his Fraud Discovery Institute and is accusing a home building company called Lenner of fraud.
Lenner.
Lennar, Lennar, Lennar. I'm not familiar with them, but they're big. So Minkow and Marsh together accused the company. Accused them of fraud. Minkow specifically accused them of being a massive Ponzi scheme. And when all these allegations came out, their stock prices dropped from over $11 to $6.55 a share.
So he came to him to investigate this company?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, Lennar filed an anti-libel suit against both Marsh and Minkow because obviously their allegations destroyed their stock prices, right? And during this trial, this is, just the anti-libel suit, right? This is not even this is just one person against another. This is not even about breaking laws, right?
This is civil.
Just civil. It was found out that Minkow forged documents to, fake their fraud.
Wait, so now he was accusing other people of fraud and faking documents?
Yeah. So Lennar did nothing wrong. Maybe they did do something wrong, but Minkow faked a lot of
the proof.
And also, much more seriously than that, well, serious in conjunction with it, I suppose, is he made a lot of money shorting Lennar stock. He shorted.
So much for that turnaround, right?
I think he shorted $20,000.
He was this close.
$20,000 worth of options.
And how much did he
stock.
make from this?
I'm not really sure how much he made from it. I didn't find the exact numbers of how much he made from that because at
least he didn't steal from the church. I thought that's where this was going. So
hold on.
Dear God, Daniel.
We're not there yet. There's a little more with this. Actually, after he shorts all that Lennar stock, and when the prices dropped, he buys a bunch back because he thinks it's going to rebound.
He is a real piece of shit.
Yeah,
I kind of like his style. I'll be honest. Like that is audacity at its finest.
Yeah. And I said shorting stock. We're not like a financial channel. I should probably say like basically shorting a stock is you make investments which you're betting a stock will fall.
Right.
And that pays out a lot when it does fall. Right. At any rate,
it's part of the futures market. Right?
Part of the futures market, which is complicated. A lot of it's above my head, but I know basically how that works because I saw The Big Short.
Right.
It's a good movie. Just check it out. Now he ends up pleading guilty to insider trading because of this.
Right.
But during that scandal, it comes out that some members of his church are accusing him of fraud and embezzling money.
Oh God!
Of using church funds to run his Fraud Discovery Institute.
Do we know how much he stole from the church?
It's estimated he embezzled $3 million from the church.
What is a church doing with $3 million in the first place?
This is a big church in California, man. I mean, come on. So here, especially with such a good con man at the helm of it, right?
Jesus is getting paid, apparently.
Make some money. Well, Barry Minkow is getting paid.
Right.
So what's going on is
so just to recap real quick.
Yeah.
Okay. He committed a litany of frauds and scams, and eventually got busted and went to prison.
Yes.
He came back out, and he actually sold books playing on his reformation. Right. He was a reformed criminal, and now he was going to help other people detect fraud.
And he was a pastor now. Born again Christian pastor.
And he used these new positions to commit further fraud.
Yes, he did.
Wow.
Yeah, it takes some real balls, doesn't it?
Real stand-up guy.
So let's talk about what he did with the church here. He had been forging signatures on church checks. Mm-hmm. He was using church credit cards for personal expenses, diverting funds from church accounts. And he was actually trying to defraud individual members of the church too. He got $300,000 from one woman in his congregation as a donation. Then there's $75,000 from another member.
What was it for? What was he telling them this it was for?
The $75,000 was to build a hospital somewhere. Is what he told that man.
So he was doing the Lord's work.
The $300,000, what I read was it was actually meant to finance a movie about him turning his life around.
Okay.
You
can't make this shit up, dude.
Nope. Can't make it up. This is very much real. So yeah, he ended up pleading guilty to conspiracy to commit bank fraud, wire fraud, mail fraud.
How much did he get this time?
God, I'm not sure, but he got out of jail in 2019.
So he's out again.
He's out again. Yeah.
Surely he's too old by this point to be scamming people.
I hope so. He did that documentary for ID, I know, but I really don't know what else he's doing right now. I don't want to know because it would just open up too much in my mind what he might be doing wrong.
At the very least, you can say he's lived an interesting life.
A very interesting life. I can't believe someone that defrauded so many people is walking the streets right now, you know? Obviously probably not welcome back at the church anymore.
Probably not. If you enjoyed this segment from the Fact and Suspicion podcast and want to hear more, you can find the full episode here on YouTube, on iTunes, Spotify, or just about anywhere else you get your podcasts. Thanks for listening.